Hey, my name is Devin Watts, and today I'm going to be talking and looking a little bit about how small businesses raise capital and the documents that are common when raising capital as a small business owner. So, to start, we're going to look at the offering document, also known as the private placement memorandum. This private placement memorandum is a document that is legally binding between the investor or venture capitalist and the business owner. This legal binding document is usually extensive, and the reason it's extensive is because it is legally binding. Um, However, the exemption to this private placement memorandum is that it does not have to register with the SEC, whereas we see it's often where corporate businesses register their securities offered with the SEC. A common way to achieve this exemption is through filling and completing Regulation D. This Regulation D allows small businesses to exempt their securities being offered. In addition to the offering document, we look at the term sheet. This term sheet mentioned is not necessarily a legally binding document, aside from one section, which I'll talk a little bit about. But this is a basic record and a starting point for a firm and an investor to kind of commingle and negotiate their terms. It includes important issues for investors, and it typically tends to look at the things that investors really care about, which a couple of those, according to Brian Garrett, a business attorney or a business litigation attorney, he says the percentage of ownership for investors is common to look at, along with the percentage of pooled securities left behind for retaining important employees, along with the government makeup of the securities being offered. Because so the government makeup of those securities consists of, okay, who has voting rights? Is it if there's 5 people that have voting rights? Usually Brian says that there's 2 common stockholders, 2 preferred stockholders, and 1 independent who has been agreed upon jointly between the common and preferred stockholders. As mentioned, the term sheet is a non-legally binding document. However, there is a exemption to that. It's the confidentiality section of the document of the term sheet. The confidentiality section allows investors to look at or to sign off and say that they will not be sharing this information or this offering with other people whom don't necessarily need to know the information. So moving on to the due diligence section of how small businesses raise capital and how due diligence might play into raising capital as a small business owner. The due diligence will really break down the details of businesses. The due diligence is exactly how it sounds, is we need to properly and correctly expel all the information composed within a business. So this due diligence has recently become a huge factor within the financial advising market, as well as the hedge funds. So first, looking at the hedge funds are offered, and they usually are offered with a wide range of limitations, or like they have a small amount of limitations to them and their offerings. So hedge funds have recently seen a drawback in the amount of limitations. So, and then looking at the financial advising section of due diligence, the financial advisors are under scrutiny for the fiduciary rule, where this fiduciary rule has been looked at by the Department of Labor. they are imposing that all financial advisors should be acting under this fiduciary rule. This ties in to how small businesses raise capital because the due diligence is essentially how the fiduciary rule is coming into play. Because the due diligence of raising capital within a firm has to be done in a fiduciary way that discloses the hidden fees and the possible legal issues that a company has faced ahead of time. So if you're raising capital as a recent felon, you're most likely not going to be able to raise as much capital as the one who just graduated from Fresno State. This is all I have for today. And again, this is my presentation on raising capital as a small business owner. Thanks.